Hello. My name is Aniruddha and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. The scene I'm sketching today is a challenging one. It has a lot of details that need to be simplified and a lot of different colors too. It's a scene from somewhere in Tokyo, Japan. I've reached a point in my life where I now realize that I'm probably not going to travel anywhere as much as I had hoped to earlier in life. So art for me has become a way to experience places which I will probably never experience in person. I'm going to start off by first painting the parts of the street being hit by sunlight. You can even say I'm painting in the color of the light. The mixes I use for this are nice and watery. I describe them as tea consistency. Use the link in the top right hand corner if you want to learn more about paint consistency. As I move to the brightly colored building in the foreground, I am now beginning to add in some of the local colors as well. And my color mixtures are getting progressively thicker. I attempt to keep this entire region of warm colors as one large connected shape, at least in this first application of paint. However, I am using a paper that dries relatively fast. It's a Fabriano hot press paper, 25% cotton. That large connection is something I would like, but even if I can't keep it all connected as a wet shape, it's still okay. In the description to this video, I have listed all the materials that I use. As I conclude this layer, I'm going to put in the local color of all the objects catching sunlight. After which I'm just going to let the paint dry and then begin putting in some of the sections which are in shadow. In that space where there appear to be multiple shop entries or cafes or whatever they are, it's near impossible to put in all the details, and that's not even what I'm trying to do. I just want to create an impression that there are some entryways there without actually um, specifying what they are. Although I'm using a cool color for the window, this is still part of the scene which is being hit by light. The blue there is the reflection of the sky, and the blue I'm painting now is the blue crate in the scene. Okay, that looks good. On to the next layer. I'm going to mix in a big puddle of paint for the shadow section on the left of the scene. The mix is of ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And as soon as I put this paint down on paper, I realized that my mix is too dark. There's not enough water in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water to the top of that section, and hopefully the water will flow top to bottom and lighten up that whole space. As it's a granulating paint, ultramarine, this wash isn't going to be entirely smooth, but that's okay. Little bit of texture is always nice. One thing that happened after I put down that paint was that I lost my pencil lines. I should have either been darker with them earlier or done them in pen. So now I'm struggling to find the lines and put paint where it needs to go. So before that entire shadow section is dry, I am putting in some areas of paint wet in wet. So I have a nice smooth transition. Areas being hit by light usually have harder edges, while areas in the shadow have softer edges, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm also putting in that section on the far left. Here I won't go as dark as it can be seen in the reference image, because going too dark will bring that area to the front. Leaving it a little bit lighter creates a sense of distance. And putting those pamphlets on the wall, it helps having paint which is thick and opaque. This part is done. Now I need to wait for the paint to dry and get back those lines that I lost. For doing my line work, I prefer the Fude nib pen by Sailor. I've done an entire video on how I like using this pen. You'll find the link up top right. So what the bent nib does is, by simply changing the angle of the pen, you can change the thickness of the line. Just as I did with that initial coat of paint, I want to connect a few sections each time I put the pen down on paper. In the buildings further away from the viewer, I want the lines to be thinner. For this, I am using a 0.2 fine liner by Sakura. For highlights, I am using a white jelly roll pen and a glass cutter's pencil. At this stage, I'm focusing on small elements. Along with the pen marks, I also want to put in some smaller brush marks. I'm going to add some shadows on that house to the far right of the scene. I need to leave this section cool and pale to maintain a sense of depth. I'm going to move from back to front, slowly adding all these small bits. Each of these small details will slowly bring the scene to life. However, when adding these details, one does need to be patient. I'm adding a cast shadow to that red awning on the window there. Now to the second one. Something I need to be mindful of in this section is that even though the interior of the shop is nice and dark, the light is coming through. There is a little bit of light coming through that red awning, which means that there is a sense of warmth even in that darkness. So I'm letting that warm section I laid down dry just a little bit further. I want to work that section wet in damp so that I get a soft edge but the paint doesn't flow too much. That distant window needs a cast shadow as well. All these tiny details would be pointless if I didn't have a solid foundation in place. Lifting some paint there while it's still damp, just to add some further definition. As I add even more details, I also wanted to take a second to make a plug for my classes over on Skillshare. Please do check them out if you want to learn more about urban sketching or painting wildlife. There's a link down in the description that will give you 1 month free usage of the platform. I'm using my glass cutter's pencil again to put in that grill. With the pencil I can control how strong that white is. I don't want to paint in exacting objects there. Just put down some marks suggesting that there might be some stuff there. I left this doorway for the end because I wanted to have a harder edge. I'm hoping that harder edge will help bring it in the front and thus further define that sense of perspective and distance. I decided to put in that traffic signal sticking in from the right hand side of the scene. Few more touches with the white pen and pencil, maybe lifting out highlight here and there, and then I can call the scene done. Thank you for joining me here today. Please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and share to any of your friends who you think might enjoy this. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.